Now I can't sing it when I know what it means.
Yeah, that's...
I thought it was like money raining over you.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Oscar's gonna try and dash his way away from this with the skip and slash, but Oscar flashes, flame spitters enough and he survives!
We can cook him here.
Yeah. I'm going on the carries.
Going up.
Flashing on the well.
I'm moving. Can you check the one?
We can fight, we can fight.
Yeah.
I get the trees. There's that. I can get the one. Look, one is done.
Yeah.
They want
Look
to
at this, man. Yeah, can you fit Smatter?
I got it.
Nice.
It's Fnatic that take the very first game in LEC Spring off GX. It is a best of 3, remember, so they have to win 2. I love the way Oscar says carries. Carries.
Got a good roll to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's epic. Yeah, it's amazing. It sure is. And I mean, he had an amazing time. Finn, let's look at that solo kill on Gwen and set the stage. Is this supposed to happen, yes or no?
Okay, so Gwen is one of the biggest power picks we have right now. And when you draft Gwen, you have a problem. You're not that strong in the 1v1. So what you do, you go exhaust. And when you go Gwen, you go exhaust. That's the strongest champion with a combat summoner. And you don't win the 1v1, it is really bad for your game state. So losing like this early to the Rumble makes it a huge problem. And I think he was bleeding gold so much the entire game. And it was really hard for him to catch back up.
It's a massive mistake by Lot, but it's also a really good window being opened by Oscar, who actually has the level advantage, utilizing that in that 1 versus 1, and then finding that solo kill.
Yeah, and we've seen maybe 50 games in the LPL so far, which has featured way too much Gwen and a load of Rumble as well. And the Gwen is meant to win the 1v1. Rumble is meant to be better for the team comps later. So that was a huge problem. Everyone has a plan until you're punched in the face.
It's true, and I think Lot felt the same way. I don't know if he was happy with his plan. It definitely wasn't good for GX in the long run either. When it comes to who you'd hate to see up against you in a professional team or even in solo queue, Nymera, Skarner or Gwen?
Oh god, Skarner is not an okay champion.
Okay.
Look, Gwen's pretty bad and they made a lot of changes, but Skarner has been ruining our game for close to a year now. This champion's one of the tankiest things in the game, has way too much HP. I don't like Skarner. Can we please deal with Skarner at some point, please?
Yeah, and I think what makes it even worse is the fact when you're playing Skarner and you have these carry solo laners that you can play through as well. I think GX in this game, they came in with a good early game plan. They wanted to push Razork out of his own jungle and then take control with Isma. The problem is the adaptations that were made from Razork was so good that it still allowed him to stay even and play around these solo lanes. And when Oscar is popping off with a solo kill, when Humanoid is gapping Jackies as well, all these early game plans that GX might have come in with, you can't execute on them. You fell too far behind.
They don't work, and to add insult to injury, there's an upset who goes to roam top. What did you think of that?
Oh, no, this was malicious. This was malicious. I was so angry when I see this. Imagine you're Gwen, you lose an entire game, and then you finally take a good trade. You push the Rumble off, force the splash.
Gwen is 1.4k down here.
Yeah, he's 1.4k down, and he does a really
Balanced.
good thing. He's so happy right now, and then suddenly upset decides no more fun for you.
You know
I'm gonna
what?
go up there and kill you. Really evil. I was
What a
really sad
nerd.
for him.
Oh, also a small thing there, picks up the little Infernal Cinder for the quick speed boost as well, gets there slightly quicker than Micro. You don't normally expect the AD
Look
carry
at
to
him,
do
man.
that.
Get out of here. This is not your lane. Go back to mid lane and farm your waves. This is not where you belong.
Yeah, they could do whatever they want, and it's also, you know, the little tidbit, I'm sure they said it on cast as well, but Noah is watching that saying, okay, this is the guy that replaced me in my position on Fnatic. That's not fun, but they didn't really have that much agency, it seemed, in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Noah did fine, honestly. Like, Escher into Sire, you're just pushing waves for the most part, and then you're contesting the mid push. I think where it really fell apart for GX was the fact that Lot made that mistake and got solo killed. There's a ton of pressure on your solo lanes, and if you can't deliver that against Fnatic, they are going to run the map. And I think the fact that Upset was just allowed to have move from mid lane, that's essentially 3 winning lanes from the mid game. You can't play the games, you have to go back to the drawing board for GX.
We do always try to kind of not put everything on one person, and it isn't to say that Lot is a horrible player, it's just that it's to show Nymera that sometimes one of these mistakes does start a snowball.
Yeah, and I think that's the sign of a good team that can punish one of those singular mistakes and snowball into a win. So that's a good point for Fnatic, who are obviously loving the standard lane spin back, and we heard that in an interview just on stage as well. Now, what we're hoping for next, Fearless, best of. You don't have the Gwen and the Rumble in. Maybe you go into a matchup which Lot can maybe abuse a little more. Jace is very powerful in the current meta. He's a player of that. Maybe that's something you can aim towards. You need stability in that matchup, though, because Oscar, he's not famous for his Rumble. He had a huge game on it. You cannot allow that to happen on another champion that he's comfortable on.
That's a good point. I like that you brought up the fact that the lane swaps are gone and that our top laners definitely happy. You're probably jealous that you don't get to play
Finally
again
gone.
now.
The great evil defeated.
Tell me how a top laner feels when, you know, that news comes through and you know that your lane is your lane again.
I mean, it's just that
War
every
is
time,
over.
every time you think of a fun champion, you're like, can I play the lane swaps? Oh, no, I can't. Wait, I can never pick it. So I think this just allows way more creativity. You can actually delve into those really cheesy counter picks and really look deep into your champion pool and try to pull up some really fun champions. And I think that's what our top laners actually are good at for the most part of our league. I think we have really creative top laners, and having a lane swap really hindered them. So this is a great sign for our future.
On the other side, can you understand how maybe Lot would be like, okay, I've not found myself in this position too much anymore, now all the focus is on the lane again, or is that a stupid thing to say?
No, I think it's relevant because if a player is struggling, you can sometimes hide a matchup for them through that. This is particularly a big thing for 2v2s mainly, mainly for that. But top laners can pick a Cassante and go into a lane swap in that kind of meta. You can't do that now. You have to face up against your opponent. There is no escaping the 1v1.
There isn't. Let's look ahead to game 2. Now, ahead of winter, we did hear some rumblings, some rumors that GX were absolute scrim gods. They were crazy, and we saw it in the beginning of the split as well. Did any of you hear anything?
I mean, I did hear the same things. Did we hear anything now?
Yeah.
The opposite.
Oh, okay. Did you? Yeah. That's not good. So, okay, what do they do then in game 2? We're going to take a look at, obviously, it is Fearless still, right? So there's a lot of champions that they cannot put to their advantage. Guldborg.
Yeah, I think like moving to blue side instead, you still have some jungle bans you can free up. We saw that Maokai as well. I think if you're GX now, you know you're not going to get a winning top side matchup, or at least it's hard to draft the fall on blue side as well. I think with power picks like Varus is available, which is something that Noah's kind of leaned towards earlier as well. I think that's a lane you can try and play through as well, because Noah and Juns 2v2 has been good in the previous split.
Yeah, and I also would like to them for unlock Jackis a little bit. I feel like he was stuck in the Tristan in his lane the entire game. I want to see like Isma and Jackis drafting for strong mid 2v2. I'm thinking Taliyah, I'm thinking stuff like Wukong Ahri. I want something where Jackis can actually impact the map, or at least have a really big split push presence, because I feel like this game he had neither.
Yeah, I really felt like in that draft 1, they wanted the Yone themselves. Fnatic stole it on that 3, and then he was like, so I can't combo up with the Sejuani. I think they want a combo which plays itself in the mid-jungle. So something like Taliyah, completely agree with that.
Okay, for the rest though, maybe it's Fnatic as usual in the regular season, Guldborg. I mean, I don't really usually fear for them in games like this. It's later on, but I don't want to kind of talk about it if it hasn't happened
yet. It has
yet.
to start here, and we say it every time.
Yeah.
This team, they're so emotional. Like, it sucks saying that about a team because you want to just
all
have them be
vibes.
defined. Exactly, right? Because you want them to be defined by their skill level, but it does fluctuate with how their performance go. We saw that in regular season. We saw that in just winter playoffs, and it went horrible. So it's a good sign if you're a Fnatic fan to see them start out so strong, because they need to ride this way.
They have to keep it going, and they have to, for their own sake, get it 2-0. Let's see if GIANTX has something to say about that.
Question is whether they have something to do, Afia, that I don't know. In game 1, they didn't really manage to do much against Fnatic, who were dominant from the off. It is Fearless draft, so maybe they've got something new cooked up, but they did have Gwen in game 1, and Gwen's seen as the premier pick right now. Fnatic did a really good job of shutting it down, so I'm sure they're prepared for anything that the Giants of X could throw at them.
Jace immediately rises in priority coming into this matchup. I wonder if it will be a target ban. Last time we saw GIANTX banning away the jungle pull from Razork, with Maokai, Neferi, and Vi all hitting the table. But Xin getting some buffs may raise him in priority. The big one for me is actually Jarvan. I think we got a lot of great Jarvan players here in Europe, and I think that he will slowly start to come back if the pool becomes narrow enough. But it depends on what the game plan will be from GIANTX as we jump into draft, which it looks like we're going to be doing right now.
That we are, and GIANTX have elected to go onto the blue side for game 2. The loser of game 1 gets to decide. They're going to take away, well, we see some of the draft and you guys don't see it yet. So, Betty, what do you think the bans will be from GIANTX on the blue side?
Maybe a Poppy ban.
I could see that.
Neferi probably going to be banned as well. And I would say Maokai maybe.
Oh, good predictions, Betty. Well done.
Wow, so
Very, and the crowd's even applauding for you, Vedius. Amazing stuff all round. Kalista and Nidalee and Vi taken away by Fnatic. Azir, the immediate lock for GIANTX. So no longer AD mids, instead we will have an AP mid and his soldiers scattered around that lane.
So, Varus is up. Yep. Yeah. And so Pantheon. Okay, cool. So nice. Fnatic, they've got a game plan, which is early game action. Strong bot lane 2 versus 2. I feel like Varus is the strongest AD carry in the game right now when it comes to lane dominance specifically. it's very difficult to contest him, especially like you could consider Caitlyn as a safe answer. I think Ashe is also probably fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, in just terms of straight up 2 versus 2, Varus is really strong, and Leona is still up. With the Rell being hovered right now by GX, I think it's one of Jun's career best champions. Is something that he has a lot of comfort on as well. Provides GX with a solid front line, good engage, and paired up with the Azir, you can already tell what direction GIANTX is going to go in. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like a Caitlyn, but Corki I think is also a very solid option. Again, I think that Varus has that presence in the lane just because his kit gives him so much trading potential. Oh, and I love this Taliyah if it is locked in, just because it pairs so nicely with the Pantheon. I think that in the meta right now, we talked about it, roaming mids just seem to be all the
rage.
All the rage. And in this matchup as well, I think it's great. You can get that early priority, you can shift quickly, and Humanoid and Razork looking to set themselves up for success with a powerful mid-jungle duo. And hey, there's that Jarvan ban. Talked about it. There are a lot of good Jarvan players here in Europe, and so that engage is going to be removed from Isma's pool.
Also, the Cataclysm into Magnet Storm combo is so powerful when you put a couple of soldiers in there as well, so no real surprise that that's banned away. Alistair removed by GIANTX. There's always the possibility the Pantheon gets flexed to support. Expect it to be a jungle pick, but there are times that we've seen Pantheon played in that supportive role. We'll see if that is what Fnatic decide to do. Zyra and Braum taken away, though, by GIANTX. Renata, I do quite like. That
is a tough 2 versus 2 lane for GIANTX. Renata plus Varus has so much lane dominance. I do think I don't want to say Europe, I feel like at first stand I was surprised by how little we saw Renata.
Yeah.
I thought that it went like some of these supports started to fall through, she would really rise in priority, but I do think like into range matchups, she struggles a little bit more than she would traditionally into melee matchups. In any case, we're going to get it coming through from Mikyx, a really powerful disengage tool. It has a very potent laning phase as well. And now Fnatic will get counterpick in the top lane, so it looks like GIANTX are going to play it safe. Cassante going to be brought out into the top side of the map, and I mean, what's more to say? This is a traditional front-to-back teamfight composition coming out from GIANTX.
That it is, and GIANTX all looking, ooh, Nocturne jungle? Nocturne
in this
jungle
comp, though, I don't know if I like it. Like, it wants to dive in, which can make sense when paired up with a Rell, but I would argue that Azir and Corki don't really want to play like that. And the Ambessa going to come through from Oscar, one of his preferred picks from Winter as well. And also just a great skirmishing champion that's finding a lot of success in the current meta. I mean, I think both compositions are very different. Fnatic's is very much about skirmishing, early 2v2s, 3v3s, a lot of lane dominance, a lot of lane priority as well. Mid and bot are going to be able to get that early push, which sets up the Pantheon for success, and Fnatic are going to look to emulate exactly what they did in Game 1.
Yeah.
Get those early kills, get off to a good start with the early objectives, reach those item spikes quickly, and then fight, fight, fight. Whereas GIANTX want to try and slow the game down, they have a little bit more of a front to back. They do have the ability to try and attack these side lanes thanks to the Nocturne, and I think that Nocturne into Pantheon can still be a pretty solid matchup as far as junglers go, but in the context of the comp, I do have some question marks around how Nocturne is going to work, because again, he's going to be diving in. You have so much disengage that, like, let's say the Nocturne goes in and the Rell is there, Renata ultimate comes through, and now your backline kind of has to reposition. You've now also got your front line hitting themselves, and so I just think that the Nocturne doesn't quite fit as much as I would have liked.
Champions were changed around there before the timer reached at 0, so we weren't going to see Oscarinin on the Varus top or Mikyx playing Ambessa. Everything had been fixed. We just didn't quite have it on the overlay. Let's get into Game 2, though, between GIANTX and Fnatic. Fnatic off to a flyer so far here in spring. Question is, can they continue this form through the next 7 weeks? Regular season has been their playground for a long time. I think a lot of people will be looking at this team and saying, all right, show us what you got, but then playoffs is where we really want to see whether they can keep things going. For GIANTX, the addition of Isma and removal of Closer over the off-season. We saw good stuff from Isma in the early game of Game 1, but wasn't really able to have an impact after that. Fnatic were playing very well together.
Again, I think that when advantages are gained through lanes, which is where I think a lot of the early game advantages were gained from Fnatic, your options become a lot more limited as a jungler when your laners are just falling behind. So I definitely wouldn't put too much criticism onto Isma's performance in the previous game. We'll see how things shift as we jump into game 2. The line of scrimmage looks fairly standard. No delayed invades, a bit of information trying to be garnered by Isma's Nocturne as he fishes for information as to where Razork is looking to start. It looks like top side for the Pantheon and the bot side Raptors for the Nocturne, so nothing too crazy. But again, early priority is going to be super important. And with standard lanes, this is where a lot of Fnatic players really do thrive. I think that when we saw this when we saw this roster on paper at the beginning of the year, the first thing you think of is there's a lot of great individual talent here. And I know people were skeptical of Oscar, but he was definitely one of the best performers in Winter. I think that he's really shown up for Fnatic multiple times in Winter. And I think that when you give them these standard lanes, the ability to have winning matchups, that's where we see one of the biggest strengths of this roster. And again, I think Game 1 was a great example of that.
Yeah, they had a 10,000 gold lead at 23 minutes or so. I don't think you really get a much better early game than that unless you're T1 playing against Mad Lions or something along those lines. Really only missing the 50 gold from the Nexus as Humanoid and Jackies will trade in the mid lane. Humanoid puts down that unraveled Earth. Jackie's okay for the moment. I will say I really like this Taliyah pick into the majority of GIANTX's comp. The ability to stun people when they dash over that Unraveled Earth is going to be really powerful into the Azir, into the Rell, into the Corki, even if he's Valkyrieing forward. So overall, I think a very solid pick here for Humanoid. Not something I would say he's synonymous with, but still something we've seen him bring out from time to time.
Yeah, I think that Taliyah is just one of those staple mid lane picks that it's just an expectation that pretty much every mid laner can play it. But already we can see early prio gain on the bot lane in favor of Fnatic. The mid lane was similar. Humanoid already getting an early back as he secures himself the tier and is now going to TP back into lane. The only side of the map where GIANTX is able to get that early prio is in the top side where Lot is looking to try and get pushed, but that is in part because Oscar knows that his jungler's pathing away from him. Yeah. And so he doesn't want to run the risk of getting ganked himself.
Just accept the wave a little bit further back. Jackie's eating a seismic shove there and losing about half of his health for the pleasure. Not something you really want to consume too often, are those rocks?
I very much agree. A heavy rock-based diet is something that I would advise against. And in your medical profession, I would imagine that you never or rarely see positive ones as Razork sets his sights.
Flash stun, a seismic shove back, and that's beautiful from Fnatic. Well played by Razork to flash in with that shield vault, but it's just the CC train that happens with the Taliyah and the Pantheon.
I mean, is there really much to break down there? Simple, straightforward, flash over the wall, stun, knockback, kill. Very well played from Fnatic and exactly what their composition wants to do. They didn't get a summoner spell out from Jackie's, but it doesn't really matter because you push that wave underneath, Jackie's loses the wave, you get the kill onto the Pantheon to get that snowball going. On the top side of the map, Lot has no mana left.
Oscar just trading with him here, Lot looking for the healing. We'll get some from the Doran shield as well. Oscar realizing can't quite go far enough to get that kill.
Cooldowns in the other game. And look at these HP, Pantheon. I was going to say, I immediately look at the minimap and like, are they going to get dived? But, of course, Razork has gone back to base, moved to his top side of the map to get those Krugs. And Fnatic's bot lane, again, winning out in the matchup. You're not going to see a huge CS discrepancy yet, but you are going to see it now as this wave is forced underneath the tower. Noah really wants to stick around for this. Upset doesn't really have the mana to punish him for it, so he's not going to lose out on this wave, which is good news for Noah, but it is going to be nice back timing for Upset and Mikyx.
And also get the plate, which is really nice. You could see Mikyx had already backed off there, didn't want to steal the plate away from Upset. You could get the full gold from it, but did mean that Noah was a little bit safer in walking back towards that lane. Dragon is up. Razork is going to start it. Will be spotted on vision as he does it. Pantheon very good at taking these objectives by himself.
I mean, doing it this quickly as well opens up the possibility of, oh, nice trade from Humanoid. I mean, he is losing out on it overall, but the advantage of doing it right now means that he could be in a position to contest the grub spawn as well. Humanoid dangerously low. He's going to have to be careful.
Yeah. So the reason that looks weird is you can Shadowing Strike into Flash for Jun, so Humanoid has to respect the fact that after that Q, or as the Q animation comes out, Jun could have flashed, Humanoid would be stunned, so he has to preemptively flash away. Otherwise, he was a goner.
Of course, with Humanoid losing his flash, the Dragon still goes down in favor of Razork, and I was speculating, could he look to try and contest the grubs? It looks like the answer to that is no. He instead going to prioritize on clearing through his jungle. His bot side camps are available. Humanoid going to go back to base. And overall, a pretty stock standard early game with Fnatic finding some small advantages thanks to a nice gank from Razork and the bot lane 2 versus 2 going very well in favor of Fnatic.
Upset's going to get some solo XP down towards that bottom side as well. You can see he's almost a whole level ahead of Noah from those pink little bars under the champion portraits. Mikyx here to help Oscarinin and make sure that he's not under too much pressure. They know this is the weak side of the map, but Mikyx doesn't really need to be with Upset right now. There's only one person in his lane, and it's a K'Sante. He's not too worried. He'll now work his way up towards mid, and we'll see if they decide, they're going to swap Humanoid down towards bot. So it looks like Upset is actually just being funneled as many waves as possible. We'll catch that wave that's beginning to crash in mid lane.
I think Upset's going to be pretty happy with that.
Yep.
GIANTX with their jungler on the top side of the map, looking to steal away this red buff. I don't think Fnatic can really do much about it. Good push from Noah on the top lane. Means that it's quicker for him to collapse. Razork is going to find his buff stolen. One of the advantages of Nocturne is how quickly he clears through camps. You can see that Isma with a slight camp advantage over Razork, but the experience largely stays the same. Again, both these teams will only meet once in the regular season. Single round robin, best of 3 for the Spring Split. 7 weeks of competition. And so a win for either side is significant, especially when only top 6 from the regular season will qualify for our playoffs.
We're going to lose 4 teams after the next 7 weeks. Along the way, we'll see a lot of fearless drafting and also a couple of road trips going to Madrid and to France. I think it's near Paris in France. I can't remember the exact location.
Locations, but
yeah, it should be a lot of fun to see all of the fans out on the road as we do venture around Europe once again. For the moment, though, Fnatic in an okay position in this game. You can see GIANTX do have a slight gold lead. Part of that is the fact that Lot's been able to pick up some waves by himself on the bottom side, but you have to balance that out with the fact that Upset's got a lot of solo XP by himself. There's a Drake coming up in 2.5 minutes as well that Fnatic will want to set up around, so it's an even-ish early game. I would probably give the advantage in the early game to Fnatic.
yeah, and crucially, they all spike really well on one item. Of course, you could always argue that the Trinity 4 spike for Corki is equally as strong, which I would agree with you in that statement. I just think that Taliyah versus Azir on that one item spike is kind of where we'll see that difference. Pantheon in particular just has so much power in the early game that he's a scary champion to have to go up against. Jun, not actually on vision, but Humanoid can speculate where he is thanks to the Scryer's Bloom being procced. Now we're just basically waiting for neutral objectives to spawn as both teams take a much more timid approach to the early game.
Yeah, apart from that play from Razork, we haven't really seen too much action in any of the lanes. I do think Humanoid's flash being burnt by Jun earlier on means that he hasn't been able to be as active on the map, because something you want to do on Taliyah is get out and roaming. I think that's why he's kind of been relegated to the bot lane, is to keep him a little bit safer, because he knows, well, there's only one gank path for anyone that wants to try and get towards me here. As Upset is able just to play through mid. Jackie's going in here. Paranoia coming out as well as they dive onto Mikyx, who flashes the wall. Isma there with a flash chase, and they will get the kill. Razork, the one bailed out there by Mikyx. Interesting decision there from the Fnatic support, and GIANTX on the board.
Not that I think it really would have made much of a difference.
Yeah.
They didn't really have the damage to convert that into a return kill. And GIANTX with a nice pick once again onto Mikyx, catching him off guard. No level 6 available to disengage. Humanoid now the target.
Shadowing Strike look there from Jun, but the Weaver's Wall from Humanoid does get him to the safety of his tower.
But it would be remiss of me not to mention some clean Nocturne mechanics that did come through from Isma. He held on to his W to the last second, knowing that the only CC he had to be cautious of was the Pantheon W. And so when Pantheon came to stun and save Mikyx, he still had the spell shield available. Now, Oscar in some danger. Oh, no ultimate going to come through from Lot. All right.
I do like the fact that clean mechanics from Nocturne players are, did you press W when the CC was coming?
Yep.
Good job.
It's clean.
So clean.
He also flashed to keep the
tether on, Ooh.
It was crazy.
He also pressed his R button and chased down the enemy.
And I'm proud of him for not pressing... Actually, I would have been very impressed if he pressed Q first.
Yeah, Q, ultimate Q as you go in, yeah. Because you can't
do Q ultimate.
So if you Q early enough and you have enough ability haste, can't you ultimate and then Q again at the end?
No.
Pretty sure you can.
No.
Pretty sure you can.
No.
Well, the Nocturne genius says you can't, and I trust him more than I trust myself.
No, the only fun fact I know is that don't ask me why I've tested this, but a lot of Nocturne players used to tell you that if you Q while in the air, you get because Q gives you attack power, right? AD?
Yeah, AD.
So it increases the damage of your ult, but the damage of your ult is decided upon casting it. So the only way you actually get the value out of Q is if you're already standing on the additional AD from your Q upon the point of casting it.
You 100% can Q ultimate Q. So it does bring a cooldown is 8 seconds. Reduced by ability haste will say 7 seconds. Okay. It lasts for 5 seconds. So if you Q, wait for 4 seconds, press ultimate, and then land and Q again, it would work. Vedius Razork looks for a bit of a flank here. Drake was secured by Fnatic, and he just jumps out as Jun jumps across. So all good so
Bit of swippy-swappying. Jun, though, you can't swippy-swappy out of this one.
Good. Stunned again. Handshake will pull him back. Paranoia again from the Nocturne as they dive onto that backline. There is a bailout available here. Isma needs to survive for long enough, and he does. In the end, he will fall, though, so it's a 2-for-1 exchange for Fnatic.
Bit of an overstay there from Jun, I feel. It seemed that he was very confident that they could turn that into a winning fight as Oscar gets brought underneath the tower, going to be forced to flash away. Lot's going to commit to the play.
Yeah, Lot's going to keep going in. Oscar has the public execution. Will dash forward again. Drake Handstep doing a lot of work here. Public execution flashed away by Lot. Lands the Q3, but goes out of that all-out form, so doesn't think he can trade any further.
Junglers.
Yeah, Razork's also on his way.
Okay, well, that was a bit disrespectful from Razork, interrupting a valiant top lane brawl.
Oh, Humanoid, Magnus Storm going in. Jackie's able to catch him out with the Shadowing Strike as well from Jun. Flash forward from Jackie's, knocks Humanoid back, and although Jackie's was knocked back with the Seismic Shove, he does get the shutdown. GIANTX springing to life in this game. 700 gold their advantage.
They certainly are. GIANTX getting proactive on the map. Lot fishing for plays on the top side. The fact that they got Razork's ultimate as well gave GIANTX more confidence to make this play on the bot side of the map, knowing that they would have the numbers advantage. They punish Humanoid and they equalize the kill score and also get about a 1k gold lead. So remember that Fnatic's composition wants to skirmish. They want to try and attack side lanes. They know that in the 2v2 and the 3v3 they can have these advantages. But so far, GIANTX have remained neutral, and remember the scaling element that they have with the Azir going later into the game is going to prove valuable as we get closer and closer to these later objectives. 2 dragons secured in favor of Fnatic, the 6 grubs.
Oh, which bar did you go to last night, mate? Just having a little nap in the corner? I mean, it's understandable. Early games can be slow. Sometimes you need a little bit of a snooze.
I mean,
you know?
It definitely has been a slower one.
It has been. 14 minutes in, 6 kills. I do blame him, I'll be honest. I think if you come to the LEC, you best stay awake.
Really?
No.
I was going to say,
we've
cast some games that were definitely nap-worthy.
Maybe I'm just jealous, okay? Giants Origin, I just want to have a quick nap, please. Razork jumping in here. Noah's going to pop the cleanse. Jun protecting his AD carry for the moment. Fnatic not able to really get much more out of this. Their blue buff was stolen away.
And nothing will ensue.
You want to give us a lullaby, Vedi?
No, not particularly. You know,
also, it's like really early as well. It's not like it's even 10 p.m. or so. It's like 3:18.
It's siesta time.
Oh, it's siesta time.
It's 15:18.
Is he wearing an MCoy jersey? That would make sense.
I think he was, actually.
Yeah? MCoy
was GIANTX.
Oh, maybe if it was GIANTX, then maybe after seeing the first game, he was like, dreams are better than this.
I mean, I will say that, like, you know, the best time to take a nap in most pro games is within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then a 15-minute nap, especially, like, would highly recommend if you're ever doing a long drive.
I do the coffee into 20-minute nap.
Oh.
Really solid. Emperor's Divide going to knock back here. Public Execution coming out as well. The flash forward from Isma. Look at the fear behind. Jun coming in from the side, and Oscar doesn't have any tools left in his toolkit to escape this wrench of a situation.
I mean, Isma's presence is definitely being felt in this second game. He's finding a lot of successful plays. He finds a good gank on the top side of the map. Fnatic desperately trying to cross map.
It's the first tower angle. And looking to try and take it early enough. Lot gets the flash out of Razork. Fnatic still collapsing here. 4 members strong. Lott's doing everything he can. Goes all out. Mikyx takes the tower shot. Burst tower's going to fall in the top side. Secured by GIANTX. Lot will go down. The bailout on Razork keeps him alive. But that was first tower over to GIANTX, which I think gives them the feats. I've done it. No, they haven't, because they need one more objective, don't they? But Fnatic would have got the feats if they had got that tower.
Correct.
Elsewhere.
And the next objective will decide it with Dragon and Herald both alive. It looks like that Fnatic is first at the Dragon. Oscar going to go clear out that top wave that was pushed in. Of course, Fnatic do have numbers advantage, but Lot has the TP available. Going to be started off by Fnatic, looking to put themselves on soul point. GIANTX have something to say about it.
Well, currently it's only Jun who's got something to say about it. Lot's going to TP in. Jun going behind them here does have that Magnet Storm available. The Drake patience has run out with Fnatic as GIANTX with their 1.5k gold lead are starting to push in and gain control over this river. Paranoia up in about 15 seconds time or so. Jun goes in, Mickey flashes away from the Magnet Storm, handshakes him back and pulls him back into the team. Hostile takeover, only landing onto a couple, but Noah's one of them, so he'll put a couple of Gatling guns into the back of Lot. Fnatic still on the back foot slightly. They will get mid lane. Prio, public execution in into the seismic Shava. Oscarinin finds his man and brings home the guillotine, and now Fnatic are on the chase. The Drake secured for them as well as Razork is going to take that. Lot has to flash the wall. The Weaver's wall out from Humanoid. He's going to be on the wrong side of dodge for a moment. Pulled back by Lot, almost to safety. A 1-for-1, the exchange. Oscarinin now between Isma, Noah, and a hard place that he can dash and dance his way back to safety. Fnatic will get their third Drake of the game and have actually got about 1,000 gold back out of that gold lead.
A scrappy team fight largely dominated by Fnatic is a situation that we talked about in draft. When that engage comes through, the value of Renata proving to be very difficult to circumvent. So the engage comes through, it's difficult because that Taliyah groundwork is there, making it harder for the Nocturne and Lot to follow up initially. Of course, the Paranoia still isn't actually available at this point, so there's a bit of a disconnect, but then when the Renata ultimate comes through, it is exceptionally difficult. Jackie's, he ends up in a position that allows for Oscarinin to find the ultimate, and then it becomes a chase down. Lot on the K'Sante. I mean, if there's a champion to hate, it still is this one. K'Sante doing K'Sante things where there's so much of the damage, and he turns the play around, almost gets away with his life after securing a kill, thanks to Noah finishing that one off. And it ends up being, I think it was a 3-for-1? 3-for-1 in favor of Fnatic.
3-for-1 is correct, Betty. They did also get the Dragon, and they are currently 3-for-0 in that regard. Fnatic got what they were looking for out of that. They also managed to close up that gold gap just a little bit. I will say Jackie's overextending a little bit again on the second portion of that play. We saw him in game one have a bit of a struggle on the Tristana, positioning-wise.
I mean, really, I do feel that the biggest point of criticism needs to be levied towards Jun. He definitely feels disconnected in today's series. We saw it in the laning phase in game one, and some of these engages we're seeing as well. Getting caught out around where he was standing earlier, giving Fnatic 2 kills as well. And now again, he might be caught.
Jump over the wall, but the Weaver's wall is going to chase him. Has to flash into the Razor Beak pit. Dodges the seismic shove. Razork coming forward, though, with that stun. And in the end, Jun goes down. I agree with you, Betty. Jun against his former teammates has had a struggle bus of a game and a struggle bus of a series overall. And it's hard for him here as well, because he is the primary engage. He's the one that needs to be leading, and you can see how he saw an angle. It was more obtuse than acute, but he wasn't able to scalene the problem on this occasion.
You're hitting me with maths puns right now.
Angular puns.
Do angles not fall under mathematics?
Oh, they can fall under lots of things, can't they, Billy?
I see. Thank you, Medic. In any case, Atakan makes their way onto the rift. Looks like Voracious will be the nature of the game, and that should be clear given the evidence of the nap that we saw earlier.
Yep. But we had Voracious in game one as well, so...
Did we?
Yep.
Oh.
We had the time at the start of the year where everything was Voracious all the time, which is the one, if there's not enough action in the early game...
Oh, but they did, at this
gets
patch,
hungry.
they tuned it again.
They tuned it again, yeah. Atakan gets hungry, and he's like, oh, I want more bloodshed. Here, have 3 lives so that you can kill people. And then if there's a lot of fighting, then you get Ruinous, and he's like, enough fighting's happened here, have some flowers, make peace, not war.
You think that's what he's saying?
I think that's Atakan's mentality.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like,
As-
I'm good. Here you go.
As a demon
Let me reward
possessing
you with
a
a bouquet of
resurrected
flowers.
warrior's soul. It
He's
kind
clearly a free run fan.
Yes.
That makes
Yes.
sense. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Any spell you learn is a good spell, Betty.
That's true. That's the beauty of magic, is it not?
I've been watching Rising of a Shield Hero recently.
Ah,
Yeah.
that dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's very easy to watch, but it's not great.
No, it's not.
It's because I went through all the good ones. I'm caught up on RE0. Solo leveling is banger after banger.
It is.
I hate the fact they keep ending, though, with him turning around and being like, oh, look at my blue eye.
Solo cliffhanger should be.
I've already read the manhwa, so I don't know why I care, but
But it still has an effective
it does, yeah.
debuff, I would say.
Exchange.
Dragon going to be spawning in about a minute's time. GIANTX right now just fighting over control as Lot pushes out that top wave. He's going to be regrouping with his team, and it's just the dance around vision for now. A little bit early, but position is crucial.
I think especially for GIANTX, a lot of their, I mean, they have the paranoia, right? So you have an ability to turn off the lights, but if Jun can be in a good flank position before the paranoia, everything becomes a lot stronger. I think a perfect fight for GIANTX looks like paranoia into great flank Magnet Storm, and then just follow up from the rest of the team.
My concern for GX is that Noah doesn't have the upgraded Mora mana just yet. We're 22 minutes into the game, and it's a crucial spike for him to have.
He went Cull early, which did delay his tier purchase, so
What?
wasn't able to get it as soon as he wanted.
And right now, GX at least have control of the mid. They have early access into the bot side river, but there's some nice wards for a potential TP. I think Fnatic was stalling for Humanoid to complete his Leandries, which he now has. He's going to regroup rather, thanks to the Hex Gates.
Okay, so a couple of flank wards behind Fnatic here. Lot is catching the wave in the top side. Jun will be spotted as he comes out of this bush. Fnatic can start up the Drake. They have control ward in there as well, and Jackie's is down to half HP. The poke from Fnatic is very solid. A grand starfall from Razork. Well, it's a grand something all there. He's wasn't really able to find any engage. TP behind now from Lot. Humanoid catching the mid wave. Jun stepping in. Oscarinin putting him in his place and forcing him to use the crash down.
This is coming through. Jun, he doesn't have a TP available, but he wants to get some HP back, so he's going to go back to base.
I mean, he can sprint out from it, does have those home guards, and there's also Hex Gates,
I guess
right?
they're relying on. Looks like he will be able to regroup fairly quickly as Fnatic secures the mid tier 1.
Mikyx still flanking. Oh, a hostile takeover from here.
I mean, GX are just playing spectator right now.
Yeah, and, look at how Humanoid's pushing mid, right? Like, he's already taken one tower out of this. He can look for more. Fnatic are just delaying and delaying and delaying and saying, okay, we'll take as much as your objectives as we can. The paranoia coming in from Isma. They dive onto the Pantheon. Magnet Storm from Jun onto 2, though, into the double knockback. Humanoid flashing away. Hostile takeover is going to connect only onto Jun. But Fnatic are able to get away from the engage. That's Magnet Storm, Emperor's Divide, Paranoia all used. Fnatic walk out relatively unscathed.
GX try to force the issue. They engage onto Razork. The spell shield doesn't quite come quickly out enough for Isma, meaning he gets CC'd up, and now Fnatic with the TPs, double TPs, back on the objective.
Jackie's doesn't even have TP, and he's just gone back to base. This is Hex Soul. Fnatic secure it, 25 minutes in. GIANTX just a little too quick on the trigger. They were losing a lot, but like Paranoia was so far away from the rest of the team.
They felt very pressured by Fnatic, and credit to Fnatic for being so patient in that position. They allowed Humanoid to just keep chipping away at that mid-tier 2. They knew they had mid control. They knew that they had the damage coming out from Upset. They had Razork's spears. They had the mobility of Oscar. And they were just slowly chipping away at GIANTX's HP bar, knowing that they would have to commit to the fight if they wanted that fight. And when they did, Fnatic found ways to disengage from that exchange and convert it into the Dragon Soul. Now it's GX with position around Arakan. Of course, Humanoid is top lane. He doesn't have TP available.
Upset Mickey and Oscarinin might just try and have to fight a 5v3. Humanoid's on his way down. Weaver's wall,
winning the
5
5v3.
seconds away. They have so much poke. Like, Upset is 2 lethality items complete. Arakan will go for the reset. Isma's recall was stopped, and we have another pause. I believe it was GIANTX Noah who came in with that pause. So we'll see exactly what's going on. Obviously, it being Noah doesn't mean Noah was the one with the problem. Could be anyone on GIANTX that called for that pause. And with the game state being relatively neutral right now as well, not a bad time to pause. League officials will gather information as quickly as possible.
Yeah, when we know, you'll know. And there's also some information at the bottom of your screen. So we find ourselves in a very tense situation. Baron is available. Jackie's has his TP, Lot doesn't, Oscar doesn't, Humanoid doesn't. So there's a lot of TPs unavailable, but crucially, Jackie's in a position to regroup. But I wouldn't be surprised, looking at the map state, if Fnatic is thinking, let's push mid with Taliyah, and then let's start Baron. Because if they're wasting time around Otacon, what it does is it gives you priority over mid. Your objective shouldn't necessarily be to secure the Baron, but it's more so to just put that pressure onto GX and force them to make a decision. And we've seen that when you put enough pressure on them, because their engage is so committal with both Rell and Nocturne, once they're in the fight, they have to commit to the fight.
Sure.
So that could give Fnatic an angle to turn the fight back in their favor and ultimately win out on the game. But we'll see what they decide to do. They could just play it safe. They have position around Otacon right now. It is just resetting. And as I'm kind of giving you updates, the Taliyah is hovering around the mid lane, and the Pantheon is in a position to kind of follow up. Has the ultimate available, and so we'll see how things transition. And they're all chatting in a language that I don't know. Oh, our man's woken up.
Nice. It is more of a psycho. It was just a siesta. It's great.
Yeah.
Had his little nap. Now he's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect timing as well. It was about 3 p.m.
I'll be honest, Vedi. If I was visiting the LEC for a weekend as a fan, and I was here from Friday, I would be very willing to sleep at Saturday afternoon around 2 p.m.
When I went to my first live event in London, back when Copenhagen Wolves were playing.
Ooh, with Deficio?
No.
Oh, okay.
This was 2014, I want to say, in London, and it was a regular season event, and they played like a bunch of games, and then there was the visa issues with Moscow 5 and all the... I fell asleep in one of those games.
Really?
It was mega boring. I
know. You call yourself a caster.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you went, you were actually on the caster desk, right?
No, I wasn't. I was a fan.
I'm messing with you.
You got me.
Little joke as we get our ready checks back in and we'll get back on into the game. Everyone is ready to go. Just had a short moment where Noah needed to step off stage for a second. So we should be getting back on into the action. Nothing's happened since you last saw us. Mikyx, Upset, and Oscarinin were able to push GIANTX away. Looks like Noah did burn his cleanse. I assume he was hit with the chain of corruption from Upset, and so did have to use that summoner.
Oh, they're going to start that.
Okay, so Razork does have the Grand Starfall. But do you think they just like, well, they don't know?
They don't know.
They don't know.
Can we see GIANTX's vision?
I can tell you, that area is dark.
Yup.
Oh, now they know.
Now they definitely know.
But they're going for Baron. The question is, do they know the Humanoid and, well, Razork's not there, but does have the Grand Starfall. So GIANTX are going to go for the Baron. Their enemies have a false life. Humanoid is waiting around the corner here to see if perhaps he can find a pick. Upset's on his way across, as is Mikyx. Obviously, Razork has Grand Starfall towards the bot lane originally.
They're going to get this.
They're looking forward. Paranoia coming out, looking for that smite. Secured by Isma. Weaver's Wall in by Fnatic. Lot on the wrong side of the wall. Will be killed off the Baron empowered recall. Enough from Isma to escape. So, GIANTX get out with the Baron. Fnatic have the Otacon. They have that false life. Mikyx's going way too deep here. Okay, Mikyx. That was not fine at all, my friend. Couple of 100 gold goes over to GIANTX. They upped the gold from previously. Noah, I think he could have finished his recall there.
No, it got interrupted by the soul.
Oh, by the Hextech soul. Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Fnatic, though, will use the fact that they do have pressure in this lane to take another tier 2. The question is, for the next 2 minutes, 20 seconds, what can GIANTX do with this Baron buff?
I mean, I think just weather the storm, honestly. I think that they're... I know... How do I say this? They're not insanely far behind in terms of gold, but it feels like they're very far behind.
It really does.
It feels like that if they were to try and fight right now, Fnatic would have the advantage.
I mean, one of the things is Fnatic have a Hex Soul, which is about 3,000 gold worth
that
of
helps.
stats. So
No,
like, it's an important thing for viewers who perhaps don't know the value of these souls. It's like, that's about a 5,000 gold lead because of the Hex Soul. You get the slows, you can see Mikyx able to be really aggressive with it. Too aggressive, one might say, and I think one would probably be correct. The bailout coming out, Paranoia from Isma kills off Mikyx, but Mikyx did buy enough time for the rest of Fnatic to collapse, and that means Jackie's is dead, and a lot of the wave clear now from GIANTX has fallen away.
That is a good death,
Yeah,
I will say. I think that he did a good job of trading his life for enemy mid laners. A lot of the wave clear now gone. They converted into another tower. The ultimate from Razork.
The Weaver's Wall, Grand Star Fall, Magnet Storm coming out as well. Upset was taking over the tower, Chain of Corruption going right down. Razork will fall back with the false life. Humanoid taking up a couple of tower shots himself as well. Jun could look for this. Doesn't have the flash. In the end, Fnatic really just pushing back on GIANTX as much as possible. There's only a minute left on this Baron, and they've had negative 500 gold from it. Usually you get 1.5k just from taking the Baron. So that's actually negative 2,000 overall for GIANTX.
Yeah, it's... I mean, it was in response to the Arakan, which we thought was a little ambitious, especially given they didn't have TPs available. I think it was a wise call from GX. But their game plan was to try and stem the bleeding, and unfortunately they weren't quite able to do that. Crucially though, look at the itemization on the carries of GX. Like, they have items to win out on the fight. The problem is, again, it comes to this composition. Once they commit to the fight, they're in. There is no way out again. And so they've got to find that good angle, which they could still find, but ultimately will come down to execution. Looks like it's going to be an Elder game.
Well, it's only, I mean, it's not even a long Elder game. It's a 30-minute Elder game. This is the sort of Elder game that I am very happy to see. Upset has the Edge of Night. The shield can, of course, be propped by the Corki missiles. Oscar TPing in. Fnatic get mid-control. Isma trying to farm up his jungle right now, or is he just waiting with the Paranoia? I'm trying to check if he's doing red. He is. That will be taken for GIANTX. Isma's going to look for that flank position. Elder Drake up in 35 seconds time. Where are we in terms of summoners? Everyone's got flash apart from Isma and Jun, who does have that Hex flash. An issue, public execution there from Oscarinin, doesn't connect. That's one ultimate down. Seismic shove going out as well. Razork underneath the tower. Oscar trying to dive in. A great Emperor's Divide into the Magnet Storm, and though with the Paranoia, immediately everyone flashes away. Isma looking for two as Humanoid's chased down. Oscarinin already fallen as well. GIANTX coming out on the right side of the trade. 3 for 2 so far in their advantage.
Yeah, I think Fnatic went a little too deep underneath the tower, didn't respect the damage, and GX are able to find a good fight. Of course, they will be forced to recall. They're likely going to lose this mid tower. Oh, I stand corrected. Fnatic choosing to reset, but crucially, the Elder is now alive. Isma is alive. The Smite is available, and so the pressure falls onto Fnatic's shoulders. They have to stop GIANTX from securing this objective, and GIANTX want to clear this as quickly as they can.
Paranoia about a third of the way before it comes back off cooldown. Isma has that GA as well. Jun keeping
TP
Mikyx
on
at bay. Lot does have TP, as does Humanoid, but he's 10 seconds away. The Elder Drake for GIANTX seems to be their prize from winning that play. A little delayed from when they would have wanted it, but GIANTX will get the Elder. Fnatic weathered the Baron Storm well. Can they weather the next 2.5 minutes?
I mean, GIANTX, they demonstrated that with the right fight, they can still come out ahead. And Fnatic, they're looking to try and punish the front line. Jack is actually in a good position. A massive ultimate underneath the tower means that it does cost him his life, but he buys enough time. A really good Zhonya's means that Razork isn't able to come back as well. A huge play from Jackie's there in that team fight has really swung the momentum now in GX's favor.
Credit as well to Isma, like he jumped onto Oscarinin, but also Humanoid was going up in that direction. So Isma, although they used everything already, he was able to chase them out and get 2 kills off of that, meaning that GIANTX came out on top of the fight. Gold basically even between the two teams now. The Hex Soul still in Fnatic's pockets. They might be looking to crack open the bot in, hit Baron up in 20 seconds time, but Fnatic know they can't really fight against an Elder Dragon, so instead they are hedging their bets and playing down towards this bottom side, trying to get something on the other side of the map. It's only Jun here to defend right now. Jackie's does have TP, and he is back
Mikyx
towards the tower. As you say, Mikyx's dead. I believe you may be correct in your assertion, Betty. Isma will take the kill. 5-1 now on this Nocturne.
He is making it work, and now the Baron becomes an easy objective to play for. GX have swung this game around. A little bit of over-aggression from Fnatic ends up being punished massively. And with this objective, GX can really start to put pressure back onto Fnatic's side of the map. Fnatic, though, doing what they can on the bot side. Jackie's wisely providing wave clear, mitigating their options. Now, this is where you'll start to see GX's range really come to fruition. They've been poked at a lot by Upset, by Humanoid, but now Azir, Corki, with their 4th items nearing completion, the scaling value that they provide is going to be difficult for Fnatic to deal with.
Importantly for Fnatic, that Elder will fall off in 30 seconds time, so really one wave of pushing with the double uber buffs of the Elder Drake and the Baron. GIANTX aren't going to have any time to push out with it. Fnatic had managed the waves well enough. And you can see GIANTX playing down towards the bottom side right now. They have 2.5 minutes on the Baron. They'll go for the tier 2 in bot to start, it seems. Take away as much of the jungle as possible as well. Jun looking for a little bit of deep vision. Fnatic can't really step in here. They don't have any vision of their own. Humanoid still in the top lane, pushing that out. Does have the teleport. Sitting at 3.5 completed items. Jackie's has almost got his Rabadon's death cap complete on this Azir. The scaling very much has come out for GIANTX. Paranoia used handshake on Noah. Magnastorm in. Upset has to flash away. Public execution from Oscarinin. He'll tick down, but won't quite fall. A hostile takeover hits on 3. Oscarinin goes down into the bailout, though. Lot keeping Razork busy. Humanoid looking for the damage from the side, and Humanoid will get the shutdown. There's 2 more just waiting for him. Razork kills off Lot, and now Humanoid can chase further forward. The Weaver's Wall Shadowing Strike from Chun will save his jungler, but Fnatic with the TP to the side with Humanoid coming in are able to turn the fight on its head.
What happened? GX was in such a good position with Baron. Even though the Elder had fallen off, they could just work their way towards securing the bot tower, the mid tower, but then they overforce, they dive underneath the tower. They give Fnatic an angle to outplay them, and they do just that. They're setting their sights on GX's Nexus as they secure their first inhibitor. There's only Isma alive for now.
He has the Paranoia up in 2 seconds time, but immediately he's jumped on, flashes away. Will pop the Paranoia. The wave's still there, though. He dives back in and immediately gets put into the GA. We'll get the fear onto Mikyx, but the Nexus towers are going to fall, though. And GIANTX from the brink of victory. They have clutched defeat. Fnatic knocking on the Nexus. Oscarinin here to join the party. Lot, Jun, and Noah trying to defend, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to. Look at the healing on Razork through the Sundered Sky. Jackie's has to flash away. Fnatic all quite low, though. Forcing Noah back. A couple more autos on the Nexus will be enough, and Upset has his eyes on the prize. A 2-0 for Fnatic as they start off spring in winning ways.
Game 2 got very messy very quickly, but a huge team fight win from the over-aggression of GX allows them to close the series out. Frustrated face on the side of Jackie's, as he should be. They were in a winning spot after holding the line for long enough. Elder, Baron. Frustrating situation to be in for GX, but a huge win for Fnatic. As you rightly said, Mikyx starting off the split strong with a 2-0 win.
Yeah, solid 2-0. You can vote for one of the Fnatic players in your key player of the series. Vote Oscar, Humanoid, or Upset are your options. I think Oscar had a really good series overall. I think Upset too. Humanoid did well as well, but I think my eyes would be between Oscar and Upset. Maybe Upset, because Oscar's game 2 wasn't quite as strong. We're going to go to a short break, though. Afterwards, we'll have an interview with Razork. Make sure you stay tuned.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab's Titan ergonomically engineered for you. Gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.